It's all on you, man. It's all you. And how did I come out of? No, I said it correctly. I fixed it. It was good, and now it up. Oh, God, I'm away for 6 months, and this happens to me.
China Sticks Army, it's time to make like a Sith Lord and rise. Because Star Wars Resistance is back, and therefore, so is Viva la Resistance. We're back for Season 2. I am Nico Suave Regoli, and I'm joined, as usual, for the first time in several months, by Case Cornelese and Chris Doman for this particular show. First, let's go to Case. How are you today, sir?
Oh, that just happened, I guess. Okay. Hi guys. We're back. Resistance is back. We've been waiting for this for months. I'm very happy to be back. Because now we have another show to actually do every week on this channel. Looking forward to the new season. The last season, unfortunately. But looking forward to it nonetheless. And I like this episode. I'll say that right off the bat.
And Mr. Chris Doman, are you also excited that we have Resistance back?
Good Lord, yes. I adored Season 1. I thought there was really only one episode I didn't care for out of the entire season, and, we're back. It's like we never left, and I'm glad the show kind of went that approach with it. And yes, I also quite like this episode, and while I was thinking we were going to get a little bit more of the action, we didn't, and I'm okay with that for right now.
One of the things we talked about in regards to last season was it started off slow for maybe like 2, 3, 4 episodes, and then really picked up steam all the way to the end. And essentially, it feels like we've kind of come full circle for the start of Season 2. We've gone back to, we're doing a little slow, but we're going to speed up the more we get through the season. And speaking of this season and the first episode of it, Season 2, Episode 1 was titled Into the Unknown, which is very appropriate because, when we last left our heroes, they had no idea where they were going, and we had no idea where they were going. The Colossus was just this giant hunk of junk floating in space, which is kind of a repeating theme in Star Wars. It's just giant hunks of junk floating in space. Millennium Falcon joke, anyone? Anyway, so while they're trying to figure out where they are, Tam is on another section of the galaxy becoming acquainted with the First Order because Kaz's lying drove her into the arms of the enemy. And getting into the context of this episode, the Colossus crew and its population, they discover, we're 3 parsecs away from Dakar, which just so happens to be where the base of the Resistance is. The ship is dealing with a lot of problems. Most prominent issue it's facing is the malfunctioning artificial gravity. So Yeager and Captain Doza, they send Kaz, Niku, and Tora, and CB-23 down to fix the gravity. And as they get down to the room, we run into the Shell folk, who are literally in shell shock, foreshadowing that something awry. Yes, I made that joke. And that they are basically foreshadowing that we are going to get into some shenanigans as the episode moves on. Before we get to those shenanigans, from here, from the start of the episode to here, what did you guys think?
Well, I personally thought that when the episode just started like this and was kind of, easy on us, I was thinking, okay, they're definitely taking a breather from the heavy episodes that we got at the end of the last season because they really ramped it up from the second half until the end in Season 1 with a lot of heavy, good episodes. And this one is, okay, guys, let's breathe for a second. Let's see where these guys are now. They're only 3 parsecs from Dakar, but not there yet. Right now, we know that what is happening in terms of movies is that something is going down in Dakar, but the base is not destroyed yet. We know that because BB-9E is on the ship. So I'm really interested how it'll tie into The Last Jedi. Something that I noticed, though, right off the bat, Gwendolyn Christie is not voicing Phasma anymore. And that's kind of annoying to me. because I could hear it, and I'm like, why didn't she return to voice the role again? Um, Whatever. It's a nitpick.
And yeah, it's funny that you bring that up because something I found about Phasma, and this has kind of been a theme of both seasons so far of Resistance. She's way more menacing in the show than she has been in the movies.
To be
Which
fair,
Because she's gotten
she
the
doesn't do
opportunity to do so.
true, she pretty much had no screen time in the movies, so she wasn't really able to do anything. But here, I'm just so happy that Justin Ridge and the crew over at Resistance have been making sure to actually give her something to do. So, yeah, and I loved how, all the scenes of Pyre and Tyranny and how they just continue to, suck in Tam further into their cause and be like, no, you want to be friends with us. You want to believe in our cause. You want to destroy your friends.
Gooble
Tam.
gobble, gooble gobble.
Yeah, exactly. And something I actually really appreciate about this first little bit here, it basically gave us all a reminder of who was where at the end of season 1 without saying a thing about it. It was all visual. And can we all just agree how Star Trek is the command deck, and I absolutely love it.
Yeah.
It is
Yeah.
so Star Trek, and I love it.
I didn't notice that at first, but I'm glad you bring it up because it's very Star Trekky. Good callback, and there were a lot of callbacks to, I think, other movie franchises in this episode, and also TV franchises because where like the fact that we have this hunk going back to the hunk of junk in Spacer Mark, that's kind of the plot of Stargate, like just this giant ship that's falling apart, but it's the only thing keeping hope alive in the galaxy. It's the fate of the galaxy depends on it.
I do want to say there was a mention of coaxium fuel, and I like that.
Yes.
I also like that because it shows that there is interconnection going on with some of the movies and the TV shows. Maybe not as much as we would like, but they do recognize things from one another.
Well, and this is also something that I was thinking about it earlier today. In The Last Jedi, they first really introduce into the movies fuel, the concept of fuel in the Star Wars universe, which we haven't really seen in the other movies. We've seen it in a lot of other canon media. And I was also thinking, like, a lot of people were complaining about the fact that, it's fuel as the main plot. But then I was thinking, Solo had the exact same plot. The entire plot is based around fuel. And a lot of people seem to not have an issue with that. So I'm like, well, but it is funny that in the span of 6 months, we had 2 Star Wars movies come out with the main plot about fuel. That's
Pretty much.
And in relation to fuel, hyperdrives have also been a reoccurring theme in Star Wars movies. Empire Strikes Back and The Phantom Menace both really talk about hyperdrives and the importance of them.
And especially how they can break down in like a million ways.
Yeah.
Even if it's something as simple as a deactivation by very evil people, which, isn't it funny how that is sort of a similar theme to what happens in this episode?
I mean, it's like poetry at times.
Indeed it does.
Thank you, George.
Indeed it does, Ron. So, the kids are trying to work on the artificial gravity generator. They sort of get it fixed, but the gravity is too much. Then they unfix it, and then you just have you go to a shot of the bar, and everyone is just floating, falling, floating, falling, floating, falling. It's a fun time, especially if you're intoxicated.
People in the bar are having way too much fun with 0G.
Well, when you're intoxicated,
one
you're gonna
0G
have that
special coming right up.
Then it's just like chasing the drink through the air as it floats away. You're like, no, my booze.
Let's just be glad it was only like food and liquid going through the room and not other certain things like sweat.
Oh, we have no idea what was going on in the bathrooms, do we?
I wasn't gonna go there.
Wouldn't it be funny if there would be someone on the toilet while Cass is messing up with the gravity, and everything in the toilet just goes up and down and up and down, and someone is in there. What is happening?
Or heck, just show someone trying to sleep. Oh, that would be like that'd be great. That would be just great. But yes, no. Just the one visual gag was enough. But if this was like a 45-minute episode, then yeah, you better believe I want to see somebody in the bathroom. I want to see somebody trying to sleep. Maybe certain other things going on, if you know what I'm saying. Heyo.
They're obviously struggling to get the gravity right, and so they send CB23 to a different room to go see if she can fix whatever's wrong in that other room. And this is where the horror element of this episode begins, because we have a slightly blinded and broken BB9E just creeping around in the vents and then coming out of the shadows and literally beheading CB23. And she's so the gang realizes our droid's been gone a long time. Niku, go see what's going on. Go find her. And he does that. He points out, oh, your head is detached from your body. Then he gets attacked by BB9E, literally strung up from the ceiling. Our crew's in trouble. And once they get some distance, that's when BB9E makes his move to try and contact the First Order and let them know, hey, the Colossus is here. And that's when we get into more shenanigans. But again, what did you guys think up to this point?
Yeah, this was definitely like Alien, and especially how it goes on after this. But yeah, it was interesting to see. And you're like, no, CB, no, Nico, what is happening? And then Kaz and Tora, our wonder couple, goes after. They go after them to see what's happening. Cass is being Cass, and I'm like, there are a couple of things he says and he does that I'm like, if you just thought about it for 2 seconds.
Before we get to the actual horror elements going on, there is a moment where he's struggling to get the gravity generator to work. And he says, Tam, hand me that tool.
Oh, right.
He's still bummed out that he turned his friend to the dark side, in a sense. Not a lot of the romance that we've been hoping we would get, because of, like, now it's just friendship broken.
Well, and to be fair, I wasn't expecting, any wonder couple moments in the episode, because you gotta realize, we are maybe, a day or two after the season 1 finale. So, yeah, Kaz is still, pretty heartbroken about the events of No Escape and the fact that his parents are most likely dead. The fact that, billions and billions of people are now dead because of the First Order, and that, there's a new war that's going on. It's like,
well, and of course the fact that one of his best friends, Tam, turned on him.
Yeah, so of course he's still gonna be, hurt by that, and it to me it makes sense that he would sort of take that out on Tora subconsciously, because she's the only other person that, like, he's really gotten to know outside of Jaeger, Tam, and Niku.
And maybe Sonara.
To an extent. But, okay, can I be selfish here for 2 seconds? I'm glad she was nowhere in this episode.
I mean, you know that she's going to be back sooner or later, but I think
exactly. It's like,
I think the inclusion of her would have been too much for the episode.
Yes. I also very much loved the reference to Alien, and I loved how it had sort of that slasher element to it, where one character goes out by themselves, and then oh, here comes the threat. It's gonna pick them off one by one until the rest of the group comes together and finds out what's going on. And BB9E is a creepy little jerk. I like him.
Yeah, and this is also yet another example of doing more with the character than the movies could. because BB9E, yeah, he for some reason figured out that BB-8 was BB-8 and that those people were not who they appeared to be, and that's why he caught them. How did he know that? No idea. BB9E has like 2 minutes of screen time or less in a 2.5 hour movie, simply to be a plot device like, oh, he'll capture them and then they're captured and that's it. Other than that, what does BB9E do? We don't see it. And now we see him actually causing a lot of problems. What my question is, how does he get back to the First Order after this episode?
Getting back to the episode here, so this is where it gets very aliens-ish, or alien, whichever. I still need to see them.
Oh, both.
This is aliens. This is aliens.
This is aliens. This is Covenant.
Covenant as well.
This is also Avengers Infinity War. This is what they did to Ebony Maw.
But Infinity War got it off of aliens.
Yes.
I realize that. That's why I'm making the reference.
Yes.
But yeah, basically, because we mentioned BB9E is a stubborn little jerk. So the only way you can really get rid of him is to literally get rid of him. And how do you do that? Shoot him out the airlock. And again, he's such a stubborn little jerk that he's shooting cables, trying just to yank Kaz with him. Like, if I'm going out, you're going out with me. And Kaz is just like, nope, trying to climb away. CB23, who Niku, while still tied up, was able to help put back together in the process. She kind of saves Kaz. They get the door closed on the cable, snapping it, forcing BB9E to just float into space, presumably for not the Empire, the First Order to later find, which is how we see, and later repair him as well. Hence how we see him in Episode 8. But yeah, they managed to get that little stubborn droid out of the ship. They fixed the gravity finally, so we get one more comedic fall from the bar. And then it's a matter of, okay, we got that fixed. Now we need to fix the relationships. And Kaz decides, I'm going to send a transmission to Tam, see if I can reason with her. And at the time he sends that transmission, she is almost in full uniform, in full First Order pilot uniform.
Yeah.
She doesn't have a name anymore. She has a number on her locker. And
DT533.
And she hears the transmission, or at least a portion of it, but just hearing Kaz's voice sends her into anger. And she's like, nope. Throws it on the bed, puts the helmet on, basically fully stripping away the former identity she had. She is now a member of the First Order entirely. And I believe that's where the episode ends.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and I hate Tam so much because of it. And I hate Kaz so much because of his stupid decision that he should have never made. Because trying to contact Tam is like, oh, here we are, come get us now, to the First Order. Like, are you kidding me? Because Tam might be pissed off right now at the fact that Kaz tried to contact her, but Kaz will probably try that again. Or at least Tam will know about the comlink and will maybe contact Kaz. And the moment that Kaz hears something, he's like, oh, let's talk. The moment that happens, the First Order is going to be like, okay, and now there they are, and they're going to get him. And a lot of stuff is going to go down the moment that happens.
I mean, the transmission is on a secure frequency, so they don't have to worry about tracking. But still, like, we don't know. There should still be some concern of, like, is anyone else listening in? Like, is she just having this conversation through the transmission while there are other people in the room listening in? And maybe, she asks, where are you? And then he gives the answer, and then someone's like, types it into ship, let's go.
Yeah. And especially if Tam were to say, okay, like, as a lie, okay, Cass, I believe you, I'm sorry, where are you? I'll come back to you. And then with the entire First Order in the room listening in.
Now, I'll be okay with this if the next time it happens, Kaz is like on a mission that's like 2 or 3 parsecs away from everyone else. You know, like I'll be okay with that. But otherwise, yeah, Kaz, you fucked up. You fucked up bad, son. I get it. But she's not. Well, first off, I hate that line. She's my friend. I owe it to her. She's our friend is the line you need to say, Buster. So that's why it will, again, another nitpick that you do not deserve to make that call. But if you had to, again, I would have accepted it if you had gotten, like, let's say you had gotten in the fireball, flown off into, like, some other corner of the quadrant, and then made a call. Could have done that. And for all we know, maybe he did do that. But let's just face facts. Just to cut time, they didn't. They didn't do that. So that's fine. But I also kind of love how she doesn't even give him a chance. Because she's like, no, I've made my decision. This is the decision I am committed to. And sure, do we like her for it? No, of course not. We're mad at her. As we should be. But simultaneously, do I get it? Yes. Do I want this to lead to, do I want this to lead to something great? Yes. Do I think it will lead to something great? Yes. So.
And we'll finish. I just want to finish off with this. I don't feel like what Kaz did is out of his character, because despite all the development from season 1 of him becoming a better and better spy as time goes on, he's still been that guy who kind of thinks more with his heart than his head at times. And so, therefore, this decision doesn't feel out of character for me, regardless of how much he's been building up his skills as a secret agent for the Resistance.
I mean, it doesn't feel out of character. It's just a stupid decision.
It is.
I hate him for it.
Well, it's like calling your ex after you've had too much to drink.
Yes. It's a stupid decision, but it makes sense that you do it.
So are there any final thoughts you guys have on this particular episode?
I have one issue. Why wasn't this a 2-parter?
Yeah,
Seriously,
I'm with you on that.
The first season started off with a 2-parter. All of Rebels started and ended, and sometimes even mid-season things were 2-parters. So why not this one? This was the perfect opportunity to do a 2-parter, I feel, where you could still have this first half play out as it did, where you take a little bit of a breather, but then with the second half, you ramp up already towards what will be season 2, especially considering. You remember the season premiere of season 2 of Rebels? It was the Sigil of Thal. It was one of the best episodes anything Star Wars has ever done. Considering that, I was a little disappointed, I still liked it, but a little disappointed. So that's like in terms of small issues that I had.
And I'd say I'm sort of on the same scope, because like what I appreciated. Here's the thing. The thing that I appreciated the absolute most about this episode was the comedy. Oh my god, the slapstick, especially with BB9 chasing Kaz all over the finale, like all over the third act. That was hilarious.
Yes.
Christopher Sean doing his thing of giving Kaz some great pratfall screams. Loved it. That said, it was some of the jokes, I'll say towards the beginning, were just a little too on the nose for my personal liking. Like, okay, the thing with an actor like Josh Brenner and the guy who voices Niku, his voice is a very comedic kind of voice, as you would hear him do in like DuckTales, where he's Mark Beeks. Again, very comedic villain. But for example, how he was explaining how, oh, well, now our adventures are brand new, Kaz, because back on Castellon, everything was sun goes down, sun comes up, sun goes down, sun comes up.
That went on too long.
It didn't. Actually, Case, you stole the words right out of my mouth. The jokes went on too long.
Okay, and you laid it out right there. this episode was meant to be a breather. It was meant to be a let's get our feet wet before we get back into the nitty gritty of this show, and hence why it wasn't a two-parter. I like this episode. It is what it is. I'm not going to complain. We got a laugh out of it. Objective completed. So yeah, I'm excited. This episode got me excited for what's to come in the season as we move forward, and I think we're going to go back to picking up quick speed with the season for next week, because I believe they're getting closer to Dakar, if not having already arrived there by next week. Guys, this has been Viva la Resistance. I hope you liked our first episode, our first review / recap of Season 2. But we've got a bunch more coming up as the show continues to progress throughout the season towards the finale, towards Episode 9, towards The Mandalorian. It's going to be a fun time. So if you want to join us on that fun time, click the like button, share this channel, subscribe to it, comment below. Case, where can the good people of the internet find you?
At Dutch Movie Guy on Twitter, Case Cornelis on Facebook and Letterboxd, and hosting Schmodown reactions here on Dedicated to Art.
Chris, where can the good people find you?
You guys can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, Stardust, Letterboxd, and Discord at Skywalker Dome. And you guys can follow this very channel on Twitter and Instagram at D2A Channel. Please like our Facebook page and join our Facebook group where, we talk about this show. We talk about Schmodown. We talk about movies, talk about music, talk about whatever the hell's on our mind, which is also what I do as host of the Who Cares Anime podcast, where this Friday we'll be joined by Misters William Bibiani and Whitney Seibold. It'll be a hell of a time because we're going to get into horror.
Indeed, it will. And you can find me on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube at Nico Suave Regoli, or just Nico Suave with 4 random meaningless numbers at the end on Discord, Instagram, Snapchat, and LinkedIn coming soon. # Give Nico a Job. You can find me over at Combat Wrestling Trivia on Facebook, Combat Wrestling Network on YouTube. The poorly made Twitter handle is at Combat Wrestling, the number 2. There's no letter G. We have a lot of angry thoughts about Hell in a Cell. And yeah, from all of us here at Dedicated to Art, Case Cornelese, Christopher Doman, and yours truly, Nico Suave Regoli. May the Force be with you, always.
Viva la Resistance.
Yeah.